Hello and welcome to the Seven Figure Conversation with Asa Leveaux. I am your host, Asa Leveaux, and just so you know off bat, you are at the right place at the right time for the right reason. If you have no idea who I am, again, Asa Leveaux. You read that wrong, like Asa or Asia or Asa. You got it wrong, baby. You got it wrong. So it's Asa Leveaux. What I do for a living is I transform industry experts to become industry icons in 4 steps without coaching. I'll say that one more time because you didn't know that I'm like with the shit. Like, let's go. So I transform industry experts into industry icons in 4 steps without coaching. If you are interested in that, you're someone that's like, you know what? I could use some fame, affluence, scale, and legacy in my life. Then go to the show notes, go to experttoicon.com, apply there. But let me be very clear, you didn't come for that. You didn't come for any of that for this particular episode. I just wanted to make sure you knew what's going on. The reason why you are here because we have the IG, what I call the IG GOAT. Some call the IG King. We have him here. If you don't even know who the IG King or the IG GOAT is, let me give you a couple of details about him. Number one, has helped 32 clients reach millionaire status. No. Let me say that shit again. 32 clients reach millionaire status. Raise your hand if you have done that. I'll wait. So also helped over 293 clients reach 6-figure status. So a lot of you all, I get it, are approaching or finally have hit the 6-figure level. So in a nutshell, again, you are in the right place at the right time for the right reason. He's helped such influential people such as Kevin David, Alex Becker, Lady Boss, Chris DeStefano. He's been around for a minute and no silver spoon in his mouth. Like when I say somebody got it out the mud, I think this individual got it out the mud. So without further ado, I would love to introduce to you Josue Pena. Hello, sir, and how are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction.
I do my homework around here.
So yeah, I'm just, Dominican guy who came to US and managed to kind of make a name for himself in the, pond and help a couple people. So that's me. So
I'm going to call BS on that statement because you just didn't come to the US. You just didn't happen upon supporting individuals. However, as far as I know, you are from the Dominican, correct?
Yep.
So being from the Dominican Republic, I would love to know, and I start conversations like this often, I'm really interested. If we went back and we saw that 6-year-old Josue in the Dominican, what would we embark upon? What would we be seeing for the most part?
So 6-year-old Josue, for the most part, I don't remember that much. That was like 24 years ago. But I am only child, so not by choice for my parents, but because of health issues. And I was always seen, even from an early stage, as like the odd kid for whatever reason. So that I do know. I do remember that. People, for whatever reason, always kind of bother me in school and like stuff like that. But I was like, they call it bully. I didn't know that that's what it was called back then. But I would not be the guy who would just like sit down and back, but I would just fight. So I got expelled in school. I fought like literally every single day in school, middle school, high school, all that stuff. And my mom would get a notification from the principal. She would get, annoyed, whatever. And it got to the point where I was fighting so much that I actually kicked the front tooth of somebody. So full circle, fast forward 20 years, now he works for me and we're good friends. But, back then it wasn't the case. And I got expelled from school, like literal fighting. So that was me. DR. My parents work really, really hard. They're both engineers. I'm an engineer as well, by degree, if you want to call it that. And but we never had like luxuries of life. Food was on the table, clothes, roof over our head. But there was like, hey, let's go to the, a hotel or like not like that. Even though we did live in DR, but our fun time as a family was once a week. Once a month, we'll go to the movies because we couldn't afford once a week. And then once a week, we'll go, my parents will buy beer and they'll buy me a little tiny, like soda. I remember like Fanta. It wasn't called Fanta. It was called Chubby Chubby. It was like a little fat kid in the little logo thing. So that's what it was. That was my childhood. I'm grateful for the hard work that my parents and put in, and yeah, that's me at 6 years old. So that's that.
You mentioned studying and training to become an engineer like your parents.
Yeah.
Was it purely because you wanted to make them proud, or was it like no, like that it made you happy to learn about?
No, so my entire goal with social media as a whole was to become a professional soccer player. That's it, right? So I graduated from high school 2010, my bad. And I graduated college in 2014. So it took me like 3.5 years, almost 4 years to graduate. So I did the electrical engineering degree in like a very short period. I was taking like 27 credits per semester. But my whole train of thought was like, what is the subject that I dislike the most? I didn't like electrical engineering. I'm good with numbers. So my parents forced me like, hey, you got to go to college. You got to do some shit. So I'm like, okay, might as well, so that was one of those things. But during that period, I was, trying to do social media, figuring out YouTube videos, doing all this thing. And that was 2012, 2013 when it started. Actually, my first YouTube video that I published it back then. So yeah, that's how that, kind of happened. So, yeah.
So wait a minute. So how'd you go from I got the whole electrical engineering to social media to what you do now, but where was professional soccer or professional football?
Yeah.
Where you are, how did that come into play?
Yeah, of course. So when I was like 13, 14, do you remember like a show, like a Japanese TV show that was called, in Spanish, Super Campeones? It's like a soccer Japanese TV show that, I don't know, whatever.
What was this?
So it was, I don't know, back when I was like 12, 13 years old. So there was like we didn't have cable because we couldn't afford cable. So it was antenna in DR. So you only had channels between like channel 2 and channel 11. That was it. So not like most of those were like novelas and like Telemundo and like stuff like that. But there was like a couple that actually put like cartoons or what we called muñequitos back then. So I was the Dragon Ball Z was there. That was my shit. And then before that was at 5:30 p.m. every day. But before that was Super Campeones. So I started watching that and I fell in love with soccer because of the show. And I started playing soccer, but obviously DR is known for a baseball country, not a soccer country. Right. So my train of thought was like, I'm going to grow my social media in order to grow it so big that I get a pro contract where people see me or notice me. That was my whole idea with it. So funny enough, in 2016, it actually worked after I moved to the States. But that was my whole idea. And then during that period of time, my parents didn't give me allowance, like, money or whatever. Like I had to sell stuff. And that's like what was first experience from like business perspective, making money, if you want to call it that. But I would just go in my closet and see the thing that my uncle from New York would give me for Christmas. For the last couple of years, I would just store it in the closet, and then I would just go in mercadolibre.com, which is the equivalent to ebay.com back then, and then I would just sell it there. So and that's how I made my couple hundred pesos here and there. So in order to buy the soccer cleats, in order to buy the tryouts for River Plate or whatever, they would go to DR. So that's kind of how that happened back then. So
okay. So my hat goes off to young Josue for even thinking about doing that. As someone who definitely cut grass as a 12-year-old and sold candy in church, like I get it. For real, most people that are entrepreneurs have been doing this longer than what the state says they've been doing it. So as far as like actual registration paperwork, people that are usually entrepreneurs and about this life usually have, real beginnings when they're very, very young. So I appreciate that story. And with your soccer, what was the thing? Like, did you get hurt? Is that the reason why you stopped?
So yes and no. So when I was 15, I got injured. I broke my left ankle. It was a very bad injury. I was told I was never going to run again. It was devastating. Eventually, I healed. So then I broke my right ankle a couple of years later. I was like, you know what? I just went through this. I know how that goes. So I have gotten injured playing soccer, like everything that you can think of, all the way from my back, my teeth, like everything. But then when I moved to the States in 2015, beginning of 2015, and I started playing soccer in Indiana because that's where I moved, then I get the chance to be a pro. But it was because of my social media and obviously my soccer skills. But at the time, I broke the big toe of my left foot. The stupidest injury. Like, it was a super tiny injury, but it was enough to prevent you from playing, right? So that was 2016, like April or so. I was in the best shape of my life back then. So, but obviously you're like, shit, like I can train, so might as well just dedicate my time to growing more of the social media. So that was 2016. I did that, and then I healed, and then I get the chance to be a pro. So that's kind of how that happened. And when I get the chance, I'm like, okay, I can either go all in into soccer. I've played against semi-pro team. Like, I'm semi-pro playing in the States, number one. And then I played against professional teams. I've seen the pro life, and it sucks. At least here in the United States, you know, I'm not going to be Messi or Ronaldo. Dominican Republic has never been to the World Cup. So it's like, you know, from a logical perspective, that's what I realized. So I had to make a choice. I'm like, am I going to keep pursuing this dream that I've been working on for the last 10, 15 years? Or am I going to choose a more logical path and go into business or something that I'm good at? And maybe I could become the Messi or Ronaldo in this specific field rather than trying to be Messi or Ronaldo in soccer. So that's what I thought. And obviously I chose the business route. And I'm glad I did, because the same people, I love them to death, but people that were my teammates are still in the same spot, which sucks because they're, you know, stagnant. But that's what I had to realize. And a lot of times people, you know, say, follow your passion, be passionate about what you do, whatever, like all that shit is bullshit. Because at the end of the day, if you're not making progress and you're not advancing, like you're actually getting what you want in life and freedom, you're not going to be happy. Like, you're not going to be fulfilled. And that's what I had to realize and make a decision back then from a logical perspective, not emotional or follow your heart kind of thing. And that's what I did. And I'm glad I did. So
now with the fact that, you know, you have 2 common awards, for those of you who don't know, that means verifiable sales. You have two common awards that we can actually see from this, of course. We can actually see at the moment. For those of you who are listening to this episode, just know we can see it. Check the video on YouTube and you can see for yourself. We can see that. We know the type of people you've helped. We know that you've created multiple millionaires, multiple 6 figures. But with all that success, just like in your personal life of you being hurt, have you ever been hurt in business? Or have you ever had a time in business when things are like, look, this doesn't feel as good as I imagined it to be?
Yeah, so actually I've had more shit happen in business than in soccer. I think business, like people that go into it, is the hardest thing you can possibly do. If I had to go back in time, knowing what I know now, obviously I would have done it faster, but I will probably not go into business knowing that I could make money just being a closer or a DM closer or like some other avenue that didn't require me to freaking build a business in the first place. So just know that it's always for a bigger purpose. If you're trying to just make money, you're going to fail. There's so many ways to make money that you don't really need to build a business, in my opinion, because it comes with all headaches. But yes, to answer your question, yes, I went from, actually when we met, it was what, 2017, 2018 or something like that, I think it was. So, okay, perfect. So 2016, I started. September 13th, 2016 was my first paying client for $3,500 a month for consulting for Instagram growth. Like, that was back then, right? It was the highest number I can think of. His name is Tim Gu. He contacted me and like 3,500. And back then I thought it was $1 million, right? So that was my first client. 2017, I built it up to like 150K, almost lose it all in 2017. I had a partner that went south, whatever. 2018 comes, in 9 months, I make $1 million. That was like the first million I did super quick. It just blew up.
Yeah, because that was like January to September, wasn't it?
Yeah, January to September. Yeah, correct. Exactly. January I was like making like $4,000 a month. By September, I made over $1 million. So it was like insanely quick. Obviously, with that amount of like money that comes in very quick, you just start, you know, making it rain everywhere. And like, I wasn't smart with the money. Anyways, but still, towards the end of the year, I had, I don't know, like 400, 500K net profit or something like ridiculous, or 200. I don't remember exactly. But 2019 comes and I made a lot of bad business decisions. And between 2019 and 2020, I not only lose the 7-figure business that I had, on top of that, I go in debt. Oh, $500,000. So, and then 2019, I'm forced to also start working at a gas station. Yeah, nobody knows. Like, I'm like, this is the first time I'm like publicly saying, like, not this first time, like since I would say September last year, I started saying it because people didn't know. Like I have pictures of me working at a gas station. And it's funny because I have a picture where I'm not this Rolex, it's a Blue Submariner. So, and I'm working at a gas station, I'm wearing my Rolex. And people are like, oh yeah, minimum wage worker wearing a Rolex. And I'm like, bro, the only reason why I had that Rolex and I didn't sell it back then is to remind me of where, number one, the things that I built and made and where I was going again, because my story is not freaking written, right? I'm working as a cashier 9 hours a day, standing in a gas station, cleaning toilets and doing all this shit, but I'm wearing a Submariner Rolex that's worth $20,000, right? So people like see the picture, they like, makes no sense. But the reality is that back then, it was the only thing, when I looked at my wrist, it was the only thing that was like, okay, I made $1 million, just keep going. Just like, don't stop, just keep going. And that's what happened between 2019 and 2020. 2020 comes, obviously COVID happens. My grandfather, uncle passed away a week later. My fiance at the time dumps me. So I'm like suicidal, like depressed, like, you know, and what I would say to anybody like hearing is like, your network is like the most important thing. Actual true friends, like actual true friends is like one of the most important things, because if it wasn't because of them, I would not be here today, like at all. So if you can get the chance to go to events and stuff like that, always go. Like there's an event happening in Miami tomorrow. Always go. If you don't have the money for the tickets, quick little tip, go to the damn hotel, buy a thing and just hang in the bar. I promise you it will change your life. Because you're going to get more business done and stuff done in the bar than in the actual room. So that's I know. But that's kind of how, you know, how it happened for me. And my friends like move into Porsche Tower. I was living in literally a closet in Miami, in the library kind of closet. And they moved to Porsche Tower, one of the most luxurious building in Miami. They had an extra bedroom and rent was $15K, between $5K for me. I had $15K savings in the bank. That was all from a year and a half or a year working in a gas station. And obviously with food and stuff like that, it was like 6-7K a month. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. 15K is not a lot, like it's no money. Like it's 15K is just 15K. I made $1 million, lost it all, like 15K, might as well just lose it as well. So might as well just go, live my life for 2 months, enjoy it. And then if whatever comes to worse, I just come back to the closet, like to just live in the closet or the little tiny library from a friend in a friend's house. So that's what I thought. But I knew that if I change my environment, things will change. And that's exactly what happened. In a month, you know, with business pretty much at zero, it went to like 89K a month, then 100, and then it came back up. And then in 2021, we did like 1.4 mil. So we built it at back up. No, actually, no, in the first 6 months of 2021, we did over $1 million again. So it's like it came back up very quickly because I already knew how to make $1 million from 2018. But like the environment, like different situations happened. Some of them my fault, some of them out of my control, but it happened, you know. So that's kind of like in like, you know, 5 minutes, my full story kind of.
That was dope as hell. Like I love every single second of that, like going from pumping gas to being a profitable goat. Like that's exactly what you did, and I'm here for all of it. So with the fact that you do, you know, you help personal brands, and I'm just gotta say, I think at this stage, especially with what you went through, with you're supporting people in their personal brands, getting them to revenues they haven't yet experienced, getting them to brand exposure they haven't yet experienced. You are like the perfect person. Like, you know what it's like, not just not to have it once, but to not have it a few times throughout your life. And I will say that's the beauty of just living life. It's nothing like, so it's one thing to get support from someone who's 19, no disrespect to anyone 19 that's watching this or that's in the space, but there's nothing like watching someone that's 19, work with someone that at that age, working with someone who's like, you know, 28, 30, and they're like, look, I understand because I've been there, so I can understand your fears. I can understand your struggle. I understand why you think that maybe this investment is the biggest investment, but let me tell you what's going to happen after you invest. So with that being said, do you agree that the life that you've had with all its ebbs and flows have made you a better CEO?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I still have a lot to learn. You know, it's not like I've learned everything, but I think I've been to more pressure than most at a young age. Like at 25, I was running $1 million business and lose it all. And then, you know, So I've realized all that stuff, and what I can say is that this is not for like the weak-minded. Like if people think like, let me rephrase this. People complain a lot and they don't realize how good they have it. Right? So if you're 19 and you're like, oh my God, like, 5K is a lot of money. Well, maybe, but like the question is like, where do you want to go? Is the 5K worth it are you willing to pay 5K to where you want to go, to get to where you want to go? That's it. Because the 5K is going to go regardless of it. Like whether you leave it in the bank, I promise you in 6 to 12 months, that 5K is going to go. Like it's going to go somewhere. Like it's not going to stay in your bank. So that's what I realized. And that's the reason why, I was willing to pay 5K in rent when I had 15K saved up in the bank, and my utilities and everything was like 6 to 7K. It's like, that was a very dumb financial decision from a logical perspective, like not from a logical perspective, from just like a plain view perspective. But like, if I'm trying to go here and my environment is pushing me back and pulling me back, and my network, it's like, you have to level up somehow. Sometimes you got to pay. In this case, I had to pay, and I was willing to do it, because the worst thing that can happen, you either win or you learn. That's it. And that's the way I see it. And people that are like 19 or 20 or 25 or whatever, it's like, the question is, where do you want to go? One, and what are you willing to pay to get there? If you're not willing to pay a heck of a lot, to get to a big goal, either the goal is not big enough, or you don't want it enough, or you're just too big of a pussy. So
Great. Yes, I totally get that. And I think if you invest the 5 and you just get back 10, then you've increased it. And Josue, with everything that you are doing with online CEOs, helping personal brands, experts, influencers, not just grow, but even launch their business programs and things of that nature, how confident, because I know someone's listening right now, someone may be watching us, and they're like, well, how confident is he? Because everybody thinks they're the outlier. Everyone thinks they're the one person that Josue thinks he can help, but actually can't, because they were whatever. They were good, or they had multiple successes, or something or another makes them different from who they are. So how confident are you with what it is that you do to support the person that's listening to us right now?
Extremely. It all depends on this. What I would say, I don't want to say like it can help anybody. But if you're a business owner and you come to me, the first thing I will look at is what you do. Like if your offer just straight up sucks and it's like super intangible, and like, I'm sorry, I can't sell that shit. It's like yesterday I had a meeting with a client, and they're trying to sell something that makes people feel better. I'm like, bro, it's like what does that mean? It's like, make people feel better. There's so many things that make people feel better. It's like, oh no, it's like it's meditation and like this and this, and like, no, like, bro, like you need to make it tangible. Nobody's gonna pay $3,000, $5,000 for that. Like, I'm sorry, nobody is. So like, and we have to reshape his offer and like a bunch of stuff. So that's one side. Now if you're more B2B side, it's a little bit easier because your offer is like transactional. So like, you pay me 3, I teach you how to get to 10 or whatever. The problem with that is also it's very saturated if your offer is not good. So we had a client last week where his thing was like fitness coaches, system, whatever. I'm like you don't even know what you do. Like your messaging is like extremely screwed up. I kind of understand what you do, but the problem is, again, your offer and stuff like that sucks. So what I would say is I am very confident in helping most people that we work with or that have listened to this. If we do work with somebody, we're extremely confident we don't take clients that we don't know 100% for a fact that we can help, because then our clause is like, hey, look, if you don't make at least what you paid us, like we'll give you a refund for the difference. So it doesn't make even sense for us to work with somebody that we can't deliver on. So but what I would say is this: it's like if somebody's hearing this and you think you're a special snowflake, maybe your offer's not good. Or whatever the case may be. So if you're good at what you do, if you're a true expert in what you do, and you have built at least like 1,000 to 5,000 followers in a specific niche, you're probably making 3 to 5K a month right now from the business. For me, it's pretty easy, and I feel extremely confident to get that business to like 15, 30K in like a matter of like 60 days or 45 days. So then from there you scale to 7 figures, but that's a whole nother ball game. But that's what I would say. It's like, I feel extremely confident if the fire's already started, I can put gasoline on it. If you have no fire, it means you have no skills, and we need to start there first. So
Yes, accurate. Yes, accurate. So one thing about seven-figure earners, because I'm very transparent at this moment in time, that I have not had seven figures myself. I'm 4 clients away from it, like only 4. But that's why we have you on to support us in that journey. So one thing about myself and others that are listening is, especially me, I'm not motivated by struggle. Yes, I love to hear the story that you had, how you got out the mud, how you went through setbacks and you came back like a goat. I love that. And I'm even more motivated by joy. I'm more motivated by like extreme bliss, extreme bliss. So with that being said, yes, I understand you have the Rolex, but on your 7-figure journey, what other things have you had or gotten a chance to experience or acquire as a result of being a 7-figure business owner? Because that's the type of thing that motivate us at 4:00 in the morning or 2:17 when someone's not picking up the phone.
yeah, what I would say is it's going to sound so cliche, but the freedom. So 2021, well, 2018 and 2021 were the 2 years, in 2022 too, like, but after 2021 were the 2 years that I started experiencing life. 2021 was like dabble here and there, like I didn't really know what I was doing. 2021 was like full on, like experiencing life, and then 2022, obviously 2023. So what I would say 2021, experiencing life, like I did a trip every month, like somewhere dope. So it started in February. So Aspen, Vegas, Hawaii, like all over the country. And it was awesome. It's like, it was the first time I ever traveled and enjoyed the fruits of my labor. And that was while I was building. Because remember, just 6 months prior, 8 months prior, I was at 0 or close to 0. So the fact that things were able to grow so quickly, number one, and number two, were able to be maintained by creating systems around it, then it's great, because then I can, travel to Hawaii. It's a 12-hour flight or 15-hour flight, and then an insane time difference, and it didn't work for a full week, and business was fine. So that's what I'd say is I enjoyed the most, is being able to travel, enjoy life, but grow the business at the same time, and do things that I like, So that's what I would say. It's insane. One of the coolest moments of the last couple of years is, there's a couple. One was freaking skydiving in Hawaii. That was insane. So when I was like falling from the sky, I was like seeing everything. I'm like, holy shit, I cannot believe I'm here, right? And then another one is in New Year's Eve in New York, in a cruise in front of the Statue of Liberty with the fireworks and everything. My girlfriend's family was there and all that stuff, and I was like, this is insane. Like, the fact that we're here, and just a year and a half ago, whatever, I was in a completely different situation. And I'm here enjoying this moment without having to worry about finance or whatever. This is like insane. So that's what I would say. It's like the little moments and experiences that you live with the people that you love, that you care about, your friends, your network, etc., is what it's the best. So that's what I would say. It makes it all worth it. And at the end of the day, time is going to pass anyways. The money's going to come and go anyways. So the little experiences is the only thing that you get to keep as you progress through life. So yeah.
Very true. Have you thought about skydiving in Dubai yet?
I have, yes. So here's funny story. The reason why, like part of the reason why I like went up and down sideways to the business is because I was on a student visa. So I literally got the green card last July, so now I can freaking leave the country. So I am planning to go to Dubai this year. So it's I've heard it's insane. It's super dope. I had a couple of friends who went for New Year's Eve in Dubai, and I saw the videos and I'm like, geez, that looks dope. So
yeah, I used to live in Abu Dhabi, and so I'm very familiar with going to Dubai for multiple things. Like, their yacht parties are epic. Let me just say that.
Cool.
So with all that being said, I know for a fact that the person who's listening is like, okay, so Josue seems to be my guy, and online CEOs is where I want to be, because I need support. I need help growing this thing that I believe in so much because Josue gets it. So where would be the first place or even the best place for them to go to reach out to you to learn more and to say yes to you?
Instagram. People don't miss Instagram. Go. So Instagram is obviously the logical place to go. It's the easiest one too. So at Pena, at Pena. That's my Instagram. I'm actually taking over Twitter now as well. So been dabbling into it. It's already profitable from the first week. So not too bad. I'm literally doing the same exact thing I've done on Instagram, I've done on Twitter. It translates perfectly. And we already got like 1 or 2 clients, a couple dozen book calls from Twitter. It's a very interesting platform, and I'm excited to see how we can like dominate it too. But it's same thing. Josue Pena, that's me on Twitter, and that's very easy things that people can connect. I'm happy to help answer any questions and pretty much help anybody that needs it. So yeah.
Nice. So thank you so much for being on. You have been very gracious with your time, and it is not slept on. Much appreciated. I need you to go back making more millionaires. I know they want you to get back to doing everything. So for you that are listening, well, actually, to those who are listening, do you have anything that you'd like to say last to those people who are listening before I say my last?
Yeah. So what I would say is this: is like if you're going through a hard time, it's just know that your story is not finished. Just keep going is the easiest way to put it. If you're like truly believe in what you're doing and you truly want to build a business, like no matter what, then that's you. If you're like, you know what, like I don't have the skills or whatever, and you just want to make money online, in my opinion, one of the easiest ways to do that is just to learn sales and marketing, right? That's it. And then you leverage all the people, audiences and stuff like that to make money off of it. For example, I'm not running my Twitter. My team is, right? But they're making a percentage of every single sale that comes from Twitter, just to give you an example, right? So I'm taking the business owner, the risk, I'm taking everything, but then the team, or the DM closer, as we call it, does everything else and is making commissions out of every sale. So that's a very easy way to do it. Yeah, that's what I would say in terms of that. If people are struggling or having hard times, just keep going, analyze where you are, where you want to be, what you want to pay to get where you want to be, and just go out there and work. It's like, I see a lot of people complaining. Just stop complaining, get to work, because you got to complain or make money, but you can't make both.
Understood. And message received. And so for those of you who are CEOs online, you might as well, call the online CEOs to support you in building your personal brand, support you in selling your programs, because if you haven't reached 6 figures, you want that. If you haven't reached 7 figures, you want that. So talk to someone who's actually been there, actually helped people get there sooner, quicker, and faster. Go to the show notes. You don't have to worry about writing it down right now. Just literally go to the show notes. Whatever platform you're listening to is there. So we're able to reach out to Josue. As always, remember that you can apply for the Icon Concierge Program. The Icon Concierge Program is available for you. Go to www.experttoicon.com. That's experttoicon.com. And for the third time, that's experttoicon.com. As always, I am Asa Leveaux. Dreams and radical blessings.